All righty, fellas, what is going on? What is going on? It's Canadian Thanksgiving today, so it's just me. Danny is at a Thanksgiving dinner. I had lunch, so obviously I am free to answer a couple questions. Obviously, before we got the game, it is only like 30 minutes until the game kicks off. So yeah, fire away any questions you have. We do have a couple flock questions that I will get to first, and then I should be able to answer a lot of chat questions, given that it's Monday night. There's usually less of you guys in here than Sundays, and also it is just me. So there will be less yapping than we usually have. So what do we got here? We do have Sawyer had a question that he submitted. Looks like a trade question here. He had Achan plus Mason. Mason's shoulder is concerning. Is BTJ valid enough for this deal? So BTJ versus Neighbors, and Joe Mixon in there is definitely not nothing. I mean, those two guys are both very, very valuable. You can see where I have them ranked rest of season. Of course, you can get our rest of season rankings on Flock, but wide receiver 6, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver 8. Hopefully I did not lag out there, but I would say relatively speaking, this is like a pretty decent deal. To be honest, I look at this and I see, mid RB2 and a low end RB1 for a high end wide receiver one. That's relatively what we're looking at. With this trade, it's really going to depend on your team situation here. So you said you have Achan plus Mason. Mason's shoulder is concerning, so you're looking for some running back depth. Again, I wouldn't be willing to sell low on Malik Neighbors because Malik Neighbors is an absolute star. But I will say that this is a pretty fair trade either way you slice it. I slightly lean Neighbors, I will say, given the context. This is a start 7 league. I would lean Neighbors, but it is a pretty fair trade overall. Yeah, Danny is at a Thanksgiving dinner, which I said at the top of this. That is where he's at right now. It's Thanksgiving today in Canada, so we had a number of family commitments and such this week. Thankfully, I had Thanksgiving lunch, so I was able to be here, answer a couple of questions here. We do have Ethan's question here. Appreciate the support. He says, my team is Christian McCaffrey, Bijan, Kyron, Mason, Swift, Stevenson, so on and so forth here. My tight end is Tucker Kraft. So he'd be selling Swift, presumably pretty high here, giving up Swift for Bowers. I think this is a pretty easy smash, to be honest. With Bijan and Kyron, and obviously Mason too, until CMC gets back, you are quite loaded at the running back position. It is a 10-teamer, but yeah, you are more than fine, bro. I would definitely go and get Brock Bowers for this price tag. DeAndre Swift, spoiler alert, I just recorded the running back trade targets video because I'm actually heading up north to a cabin with my fiance Tuesday, and then I'll be home like Wednesday afternoon. So I just pre-recorded the trade targets video. But yeah, this DeAndre Swift is definitely the type of guy you'd want to be selling high on. He literally just played 3 of the 4 worst run defenses in the NFL, and his schedule against fantasy running backs is the hardest in the league for the rest of the year. So as much as the Bears are an interesting offense, they look better, so on and so forth, it is definitely not sunshine and rainbows for me on DeAndre Swift. I still think he's kind of like a mid RB2 at absolute best, and Bowers obviously a top 3 tight end, so that's an easy smash there. Next trade question here from Carlos. He sends it in. Marvin Harrison Jr. This looks like a dynasty question, and an early to mid second. In return, you get Jamar Chase. So, man, this top of the dynasty board, as far as like how do we rank all of these guys, it really depends on team situation, in my opinion, because with Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, who were the consensus top 3 entering the season, those guys were a tier above Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and then if you wanted to rope in Amon-Ra St. Brown into that group, you could probably do it. For me now, knowing that Harrison, looks like he's going to be a stud receiver at the next level, it looks like obviously Neighbors is a stud receiver already. I think that Harrison and Chase are virtually throw them in a hat, whatever one you want. Given your team situation, you could probably roll with Harrison if you were in a position that you were a rebuilding team, and getting an early to mid second is probably about the price tag difference, I would imagine, on the open market for these two guys. I tend to lean with Harrison in the early to mid second, to be honest, because I think by the end of this season, comfortably, Harrison will end up being more valuable in the open market than Chase. So getting the early to mid second now and getting ahead of that market is probably what I would just lean in a vacuum. But if you were a competitive team and you wanted to go get Chase, I don't think this is necessarily a bad trade to make. So pretty even trade on both sides there. I'll monitor the questions if we do have any more come in. Again, if you guys want to skip the line, head on over to flockfantasy.com there. But I will just fire through some questions out of the chat. And then Spicy, I got in the back seat here. We'll probably build out a pick'em entry here as well. I do actually want to I showcase my pick'em entry that I made earlier today over on the TikTok. If you guys aren't following the TikTok, that is the best place you can get my pick'em stuff. But let me take a look at it here. One of the parts of the entries I think will be canceled out. You can nod on me, Spicy, in the back seat, because James Cook is out for the game. So I don't think that that part of the pick'em entry will stick true there. But you guys can see it there. Garrett Wilson, higher 8.5 first quarter receiving yards. Like I said, James Cook is out for the game. So I'd imagine this part will be void and it'll go to a 3 pick for 60 instead of a 4 pick for 100. Tyler Bass, extra points made. I liked the higher there because the Bills are implied for 21 points in this game. And then I also liked higher 13.0 rushing attempts for Breece Hall. That one is definitely not available yet. As soon as I picked that, the total for his pick'em went higher than 13. I believe it's like 14 or 14 and a half on most places right now. So you might be a little late to the party there, but I do still like Breece Hall to get a lot of carries in this one. So I'll just fire through the chat questions here. We got Jackson says down 69, got Josh Kincaid, Buffalo D. I need a miracle. Yeah, you're going to need a lot. Oh, might have froze again here. I don't know what the hell is going on with my internet these days, but hopefully it's not too bad for this. What else do we got here? Full PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown, so maybe still a reach. I think you should be fine. Spicy asked for the link. What's going on, Q? Ray Davis or Ty Johnson? I believe Ray Davis will be the guy that you want here. I think he'll get the majority of the carries, but if the Jets get up early, I could see Ty Johnson playing a big role as far as a receiving back is concerned. How'd the week go? I lost in the Flock League because I had so many players on bye and Mason's team kind of went berserk. But I won in my home league and my team is starting to look like it's going to be really dangerous now after getting out to a 1-3 start. I'm now back to 3-3 and I put up the most points in the league the last 2 weeks because my team's starting to really scale. And then, all my competitive dynasty leagues, pretty much except for one, I was undefeated in one of my competitive dynasty leagues in the Flock Me Silly League. And it looks like I'm going to take my first loss in that league this week. So that's not great. And me and AJ actually in the listener league have an interesting development happening. I think I'm up. Let me take a look really quick. I think I was up 4 points, or maybe he's up 4 points. Let me take a quick look here. He is up 4 points and he has Garrett Wilson going tonight. And I had James Cook and Breece Hall going. So I was like, okay, I'm chilling. I got two, high-end RBs going tonight. And then James Cook gets ruled out. I was able to pick up Ty Johnson to throw into my RB2 slot just in case, but definitely not ideal knowing that Breece Hall and Ty Johnson is what I'm rolling with tonight instead of Breece Hall and James Cook. And it also kind of sucks too that I burned my RB spot in leaving James Cook as my RB2 when I could have very easily put Bucky Irving into my RB2 slot, who was in my flex, and I'd have at least have the opportunity to pick up a receiver instead of Ty Johnson. But I don't know. I feel about Ty Johnson. He could get some touches. Hopefully he just gets me those 4 points and then Breece Hall outscores Garrett Wilson for the rest of it there. What else do we got? Just accepted a trade sending Hunt for Olave. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, if you're 4-2, I think Olave is a fine buy at this point. He's going to be out for this week because it's a Thursday night game. He's not going to clear the protocol in time. Hopefully by the time Olave is coming back, Derek Carr is coming back. I don't really believe Olave is like a needle mover this year. I think there was obviously a chance he could have been one coming into the season. But it looks like the Saints offense really came back down to earth. And if you guys recall, after week 2, I was like, this whole New Orleans 49ers thing, I just don't see it keeping up the rest of the season. And they've lost 4 straight games. And shout out to the Buccaneers. We absolutely beat the shit out of them, belt to ass style. And I feel pretty good about that. So shout out to the Bucs. 51 hung up on that New Orleans defense, or I guess technically Winfield had a defensive touchdown. But either way, we put up over 40 on their defense. Ray Davis or Tyler Conklin, 1 point tight end premium. It's an interesting conundrum. I'd say in a tight end premium, I'd roll with Conklin, man. He's been getting enough targets that I think he can get you there just off of like a 4 reception for 60-yard game or something like that. What should we do with 4 drop? Yeah, I mean, if you need to pick up better options, I think you could definitely stand to drop Jerome Ford, especially with Nick Chubb probably making his debut this week and Jerome Ford likely out for the next 2 to 3 games. I don't think he's a must hold at this point in time for sure. He's going to be a high end handcuff at the very least if Nick Chubb comes back and is Nick Chubb. Which I think could happen. But that's pretty much what Jerome Ford will be reduced to if that happens. But again, Nick Chubb could definitely deal with more compensatory injuries once he comes back because he's coming off of like a major knee injury. Killing it as always. Appreciate you. Cook owners cooked. Yes, sir. Need Hall to score 6.5. I need, I can't remember in one league. I think I need like 11 from Hall. So I think I should be good in that league. But I mean, who knows? How can I schedule a Zoom? That is in the description of all of our videos and this live stream. So if you are interested in scheduling a Zoom consultation, it should say like book a Zoom consultation or something like that in the description. You can book it over there. Yo, what's going on, Christian? What's up with Wicks? So the injury timeline that I've seen on Wicks is like week to week. He'll probably miss this week, but I would imagine he has a chance to play in week 8. But yeah, I'd say in the meantime, Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs are going to be guys that you probably want to roster if they're still available and maybe even fire up into your lineup, given that the Packers have a couple high scoring game environments coming up. Is Mason and Bucky for Bijan disrespectful? I mean, depends who has Bijan. If I had Bijan, I would consider it disrespectful. If you can get Bijan for that, then it's not disrespectful. But I would, if you're worried about like, pissing your league mate off with a shit trade offer, I would say, yeah, that's probably disrespectful, to be honest. But I mean, Mason and Bucky are interesting players. I just, I would want more for Bijan personally. Should I trade B-Rob and Dobbins for? All right, we back, hopefully. If I recall, Q, you were in a 12-man league, so your depth kind of matters a little bit. And to me, I have B-Rob and Dobbins both as like top 16 running backs rest of the season. As much as I love Achane and I still view him as like a good buy right now, I think that's just like a smidge too expensive. If you get something back on the Achane side, I would be okay doing that, but it is a bit of a risk knowing that, Tua is first eligible to come back in week 8, but it is also possible he doesn't come back in week 8. They might want to wait a little bit longer with him or whatever the case is. So for me, I think that's just a smidge too expensive. If you want to take B-Rob plus like a smaller piece than Dobbins or Dobbins plus a smaller piece than B-Rob, I think that's probably what I'd be willing to pay. But that is a little too expensive for me. Drake May is here. Yes, sir, dude. Drake May looking good. Finally making me not look like a complete moron after Jaden Daniels been absolutely tearing the league up for the last couple of weeks. Finally. All right. Hopefully, I don't know why the hell I'm freezing out here, to be honest, man. This is brutal. I called my phone or my internet company, like, I don't know. I can't remember how long ago it was, but like 3 weeks ago. And they said that like my internet, like fiber optic cable was like frayed or something. They like replaced the whole thing. And they're like, oh yeah, it should be good now. So whatever. We'll see. Hope it was a good day. Yeah, appreciate it. It was Canadian Thanksgiving, like I said today. So had a lot of, I've eaten turkey like a million times this weekend. Remember when Danny said the Saints were going to the Super Bowl because they cooked the Cowboys' terrible defense? Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. What running back to pick up, Davis, Ty, or Allen? I would personally go Ray Davis. I think he's going to get the majority of the carries today. Expectations for Shakir and Breece Hall unleash the beast. Shakir that cooks out the primary target. Yeah, I mean, Khalil Shakir has been really good whenever he's been healthy. So I think he's got a good opportunity to have some targets in this one. And me and Spicy, when we build out a pick 'em entry, I'm probably going to be gravitating towards Khalil Shakir a little bit. And then Breece Hall, this better be the game that he gets right for sure. I really, really need him to have a good performance here. So I feel good about Breece Hall against the literal worst run defense in the league per the metrics. I'm up 5 with Wilson and Kincaid, and my opponent has Hall and Conklin. Feeling good or nah? I don't feel great about that, to be honest. I would say, hold on. Wilson and Kincaid. My opponent has Hall and Conklin. I'm up 5. It's close. I mean, I think Hall is the best start of the options in this question, so that's why I'm a little bit worried there. Yeah, I mentioned where Danny is already. I need Brees to outscore Wilson with a 5-point advantage. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting situation to be in. I think he should be okay. Keep Sharps and Braylon Allen on the bench or stash Ty Chandler. I already have Tyrone Tracy chilling as well. I mean, if you need a play, because Chandler's probably going to be a functional RB2 for the next 2 games. I think Aaron Jones will probably miss this week and maybe the week after as well. So if you needed somebody to play right away and you wanted to drop one of Charbonnet or Braylon Allen for it, I would be okay with it. But you also have Tracy. So if Tracy is a guy that's still like a fill-in short-term guy, you could always just use Tracy instead of Chandler anyways. So I probably wouldn't break the bank on Chandler, but if you need immediate running back production, then I'd be okay dropping Charbonnet or Allen, pending what happens tonight. I would say it's most likely that we get Breece Hall being a workhorse again, and then Allen is simply just a handcuff, which I think is that's what he is. But Charbonnet and him are both like elite handcuffs. So if you don't want to hold both of them, you can drop one of them for sure. Damn, only 58 views. Does Jonathan Brooks play this week? I think his practice window will absolutely be opened up this week. It's already been kind of confirmed that it will. I wouldn't imagine he'll play this week. I think it might be week 8 that he makes his debut, but we'll have to wait and see. Even if he does play this week, you're not starting him in your fantasy lineup until we see legitimate, usage, because Hubbard's playing well enough that there's absolutely no reason that Carolina should throw Jonathan Brooks out there for 70% of the snaps in the first game that he is back. Ray Davis or Ty Johnson. Ray Davis is my answer to that for anybody else who has that question. Vidal or Corum rest of season. They're both handcuffs. I would rather have Corum. I think he has higher upside implied. Would you guys drop Braylon Allen and grab Ray Davis? I'm a Breece Hall owner. I mean, I'm not a handcuff guy. I don't need to roster my own handcuff, but if you like doing that, I would say then it's fine. If he has a great game here and James Cook is expected to be out, hopefully I'm unfrozen there. Yeah, a little Canadian shout out. Spicy, you want to build out a pickup entry here? We can get that ripped. All right, so let's get things going here. I feel pretty good about Shakir's stuff being a little lower than it should be right now. So yeah, the receiving yardage at 30.5 to me seems rather low. So that's what I'm leaning towards for sure. I mean, the 2.5 receptions would actually be better, but it's also 0.1x instead, or 0.81x instead of a regular 1x. So yeah, I'd be very, very much cool going with the receiving yards there. He's like literally their leading receiver. He's been a wide receiver 2 in fantasy whenever he's been healthy. So yeah, I really like him. Hopefully he's healthy. I mean, he did practice limited at some points throughout the week this week. Let me take a look at what else I'm kind of looking at here. I like Breece Hall to find the end zone as well. I think he's about plus 100 for most books to score a touchdown and anytime touchdown. So I think the matchup is simply too good for Breece Hall not to find the end zone this week. And you're getting it at even money here too. So obviously with just the higher or lower. So I like Breece Hall to score. Another couple ones that I thought were interesting, because I glanced this over before I ended up going live. I also don't mind Braylon Allen's rushing yardage, just because the defense that the Bills are so bad against the run that even if Breece Hall is like a 70% guy, I think Braylon Allen on 8 or 9 carries can go over 33 rushing yards. Like, I think that you could maybe play that through the rushing attempts, knowing that it's a run funnel defense. They just might run the ball quite a bit, and it might not necessarily, you're not dependent on effectiveness then with Braylon Allen. But Braylon Allen has been super efficient on his carries, and he can also break off the long ones. So I don't mind him just going over his rushing yards. Even if he only has 5 or 6 carries in this game, the defense is bad enough that I think he can get over that total. Yeah, we do actually have a profit boost token that we can use as well. For those of you guys that play on Underdog, you should have that in your pick'em lobby, whether you're a new or a returning customer. And then what else do I like here? Maybe how many we got? We got 3 picks in here right now. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers passing touchdowns is interesting. I don't love that, especially knowing that we have Breece kind of negatively correlated there. There's no reason to go against that. I guess Breece could catch a receiving touchdown, but it's probably not likely. Scroll down a little bit. I'm not a fan of Josh Allen stuff right now. I don't mind that, actually, the anytime rushing touchdown for Josh Allen, but let me take a look. Curtis Samuel, nah. What's Ray Davis's rushing total? I just saw him down there. 47.5. That's pretty interesting. 12 rushing attempts too is kind of interesting to me. I kind of like the higher on his rushing attempts. I like the defense of the Jets is good enough that I'm a little worried about his effectiveness. But I do. I mean, like he's been getting 7 carries a game without James Cook being hurt. So I think that at the very least he's going to get a lot of carries. I don't know how effective he's going to be, but he looked pretty good in the preseason when he got opportunities. So I think I like him to go over or higher than his rushing attempts. And also, too, let me put this on display so people can see it. We also have, where's Josh Allen? We also have a Josh Allen free pick for new customers. For those of you guys that are maybe new customers to Underdog Fantasy, there's a Josh Allen free pick. If you sign up using code FSE, you can actually add that into this entry if you guys want to tail it. But let's roll this one for 10. Spicy, I think this is what, a 12x then with these 4 entries. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. My other entry, like I said, I already talked about it earlier, but this is my other entry. It's going to get the James Cook part voided out of it. So it's just going to end up being 3 picks for 60. But if you want to be messing around with that one, again, I think Breece Hall's rushing attempts is like way higher than that at this point, though. All right. So those are the picks. Again, if you guys want to tail them on Monday night tonight here, we should have an interesting game up on the docket. For those of you guys that are just like betting the game too, I think the Jets win. They're not like, there's not a super amount of juice betting the Jets to win the game, but if they're going to win the game, you could always like do an alternate spread and, have them win by 3 points or whatever. And I do actually really like their ability to take care of business in this game because the Bills are on the road. The Jets have been a really good defense. They have that like invigorated, just fired their coach energy to them right now. And I think Breece Hall's going to have a good day on the ground. And we haven't really seen Aaron Rodgers play with a good run game so far. So that would be an interesting one. You want to get dragged in, Spicy? Yeah, might as well. Fuck it.
Yeah, I was trying to get your attention so we get that Breece or the Braylon Allen line. That's what I
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought it was a good one. Okay, let me scroll through the chat. We have, I don't know, about 10 more minutes until kickoff here. I'm just going to take a look at maybe some pressing questions. If people have questions relating to Ray Davis, I have Ray Davis over Ty Johnson of the 2 running backs, and I would start him over Braylon as well if that's the question you guys have because you lost James Cook or whatever. That would be where I would go with that. I'm up by 27. Jets defense. My opponent has Hall and Bass left. I mean, Hall could have a legacy game tonight, but I think he should be okay there. Please help James Cook managers. Yeah, we go Ray Davis over Ty there. Brooks has 2 times. Books have Davis 2 times high total yards. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm going to look on DraftKings really quick. I'm curious where the books have Ray Davis if the value is with underdogs total that they had there. The higher or lower for underdog was what, 47.5? That's what we had it at. So what it is on DraftKings at least is, let me take a look here. Rush yards. That's receiving yards. That's not what we want. It appears it is 48.5. So it's basically the same, roughly. So
I still don't like that higher though.
How much fab percentage on Tucker more in Dynasty? I mean, if he's available on Dynasty waiver wires, you could definitely fire out some fab for Sean Tucker. In redraft leagues, I tend to think that Rachaad White might be out again for Monday Night Football. So definitely an interesting ad for that reason. If he does end up playing, it is the Ravens defense. They're pretty strong against the run. I don't think anybody's going to feel super, super comfortable starting Sean Tucker in a split backfield against the Ravens defense. But he looked great.
Oh,
man. Like, I mean, as a Bucks fall, the way that Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker looked, man, I don't want to see Rachaad White carrying the football ever again after that performance. Ray Davis was announced as the RB1. Okay, I didn't see that. Is there a report that said he's going to carry the bulk of the work?
I didn't see that.
Let me take a look here. I didn't see that, but I just kind of assumed that was going to be the case. I don't see anything that says he's expected to like get the bulk of the work here. Okay, hold on. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson will lead the way. So that's pretty much all I see from Mike Garafolo. I don't see anything that says he's going to start. What's a man got to do to hear Danny admit that Tyler Warren is the best tight end in college football? Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who Tyler Warren is, to be honest. I'd have to look that up. But we'll see when Danny comes back here. James Cook out, starting Alan Lazard, good idea. Flex position, yeah, Alan Lazard's a good pivot for James Cook for sure. I'd rather start Alan Lazard, to be honest, in PPR than Ray Davis. Do I trade Braylon Allen for Stevenson? Yeah, I mean, if you need running back production, you're not just stashing somebody, or just honestly, that's just a good deal in general. And spoiler alert, in Wednesday's video, Ramondre Stevenson is in it. I would definitely send some offers out for Stevenson right now. Fire up Tracy tonight. Tracy? Who's Tracy?
I saw that. Not sure who he was talking about.
You think this is Sunday? Tracy played Sunday night.
Maybe.
Unless I'm just like, who else would be Tracy in this situation? I don't know. But yeah, no, that's Tyrone Tracy played already. Down 13 with Brees and Buffalo DST. I'm still scared. Yeah, I mean, you should be fine there. Ray Davis or Lazard, full PPR. I would start Lazard, as I mentioned already. What's up with Wicks? He has an AC sprain. He should be out 1 to 2 games, like I said. What do you think of Lamb's production moving forward? I mean, if you guys watched Wednesday's video last week, Danny was all just, CeeDee Lamb's my 101 rest of the season. And I'm like, dude, like, we got to make some adjustments here on the rankings. Like, CeeDee Lamb is still a top 6 receiver for me rest of the season. But like, the way that Chase has been playing, the way that, I mean, he didn't really have that great of a game this week, but the way that St. Brown's been playing, the way that like all these other elite receivers, Justin Jefferson's been playing, to me, it's like Lamb and Prescott aren't on the same page right now, and there's no reason to rank him 101. And so you want to call him a buy low, that's fine, but I can't pick him over those guys. Like, if we were redrafting today, he'd be like a mid to late first round pick. That's probably where he would be going. He's not going 101 or 102 like we had him ranked before the season, because to me, it's very
started
clear.
Slow last season too.
He did. But to me, it's very clear that the Cowboys are an average offense. Like, and I said that in the video. Danny got mad at it. I mean, they're 18th in yards per play. They're 19th in adjusted net yards per attempt, and they're 17th in points per game. So they are an average offense right now. And average offenses have games where they look like shit, like they did against the Lions. You know, top 10 offenses, like generally 80, 90% of the time, put out 20 point per game floors. Whereas the Cowboys are having games where they're putting up 7 points or whatever. That's what average offenses do. They don't look like great offenses week in and week out. And I don't, it's weird to me. Like, Lamb has a good, projection still. I just don't view him as like elite wide receiver 1 rest of the season. Like, you can really honestly make the claim right now that wide receiver 5 is too high for CeeDee Lamb, where I had him coming into the week. You could make the argument right now that you would rather have AJ Brown. You'd rather have Malik Neighbors.
Oh, I would definitely have AJ Brown over him.
Like, AJ Brown, for sure, I'm making that change after this week. But even like Malik Neighbors, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, if Nico wasn't injured, I would definitely make the argument for him. But yeah, like, you could make the case right now, like, how far off is Drake London from CeeDee Lamb, given how he's been performing and how much volume he's getting? Davis or Lazard? Yeah, I would go Lazard. Yeah, pivot as far as just like blanket statement question. If anybody has a how do I pivot off of James Cook question, the answer is, I mean, Garrett Wilson is obviously going to be rostered. Breece Hall's obviously going to be rostered. If Khalil Shakir is available, he would be definitely the best pivot, but he's probably rostered as well. I would say Lazard is probably the best, then Keon Coleman, and then probably Ray Davis. Actually, I don't know, probably Ray Davis over Coleman, to be honest. And then I'd say even like Conklin probably over Ty Johnson. He might catch some passes. I could be wrong about him, but I think Conklin would even be a better option than him if you were looking for a flex pivot. Okay, we've got more questions here. Do you think the Jets do much better without Aaron Rodgers? It's an interesting hypothetical question right now. Yeah, I mean, Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor would probably have them about how they've been playing as of late. But I do think we have a chance to see the best Aaron Rodgers game as a Jet we've seen tonight. It's possible that Saleh was that much of a distraction to Rodgers.
That's taking over offensive calling duties or something?
Todd Downing is taking over offensive play calling duties. So
Hackett is still the OC though?
Yeah, but he's not calling plays. Todd Downing was the Titans play caller in 21 and 22, I believe. I think it was 21 and 22, or it was 2020 and 2021. I can't remember. But either way, one thing I know about that is that Derrick Henry had like 85% of the Jets rushing attempts. So it's possible that we see a big time share of the carry workload for Breece Hall. But you could also make the argument Braylon Allen's actually a lot closer stylistically to Derrick Henry. So it's possible.
Hackett got demoted too, or?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he fully got demoted. He's not going to be. I mean, they couldn't fire him by the sounds of it because Aaron Rodgers and him have some weird relationship. But it's clear he got demoted. I think had Rodgers not been like, lobbying for Hackett, he probably gets fired also, to be
Yeah. Weird stuff.
honest.
Oh, it's frozen again.
Up by 9, and I have Josh Allen. Opponent has Brees and Wilson. Pray for me. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need a Josh Allen legacy game. Yeah, we got a lot of questions like this. Okay, I'm just gonna skim through these because it's kicking off in about 5 minutes. Will be a fair trade for Bowers McBride. Both players have no running backs, and I have Achane, Saquon, Dowdle, Chase Brown. See, I wouldn't give up Achane straight for any of those tight ends, but like also you can't get him probably with Dowdle or Chase Brown either. I probably also wouldn't be rostering 3 tight end situation. That seems a little high to be rostering 3 tight ends. I mean, you can send out Dowdle plus Kraft or something, but I doubt he's going to accept something like that, or Dowdle plus Andrews. I just doubt he's going to accept something like that. Time to get out of the Brian Robinson injury business. I'm afraid of the injury and timeshare. I wouldn't be too worried about the timeshare. I think he'll be the starting back when he's back there. But if you're worried about the injury, that's fine. Yeah, I would go Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Ty Johnson, and appreciate that. Jameson and Wilson for Jacobs and Hill. I'm assuming this is Garrett that you're talking about. Yeah, I'd rather have Jacobs and Hill, to be honest, than Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams, but that's relatively close. Pick up Douglas or lock it off of waivers. I want Pop Douglas, man. The way Drake May played, I want his number 1 receiver. He's got 8 or more targets in 3 of the last 4. Is Danny still in the hospital from the prolapsing Dallas got? Prolapsing is a wild term to use for what happened to Dallas, but that is funny as hell.
Almost accurate.
It is accurate. Can you share the Danny versus Bush standings on a 1v1 player standpoint this year? So I have it on my laptop. I don't actually have it in front of me, and I forgot to log the last 2 weeks, so I have to go back and check them. This week, we had Shaheed versus Wicks. Wicks left early, so I guess I clearly won that one. Ridley versus Wandale. Got to imagine I lost that because Ridley did kind of nothing. I don't remember what Wandale did, but it was probably more than Ridley. Tank Dell versus Tolbert. I smoked Danny on that one. So, and then last week, let me see, what did I have last week? I think
y'all had one where I swear to God, you both picked players that got injured like immediately.
Yeah, I think we did have one like that. Where do we got here? I write everything on paper because I'm an old man. Where is this? We had ETN versus Moss, White versus Akers. I think this was week 4.
Oh, that's what I was thinking for this week because they both like just got negative points.
Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, ETN was bad this week. Thoughts on Jalen Polk? Polk needs to be playing better, to be honest. I like what Drake May's doing, but Polk hasn't really looked that great. He hasn't really flashed enough.
He had 100% of snaps.
He did, yeah. It's great that he's getting work right now in terms of like routes, but I want him to play more or play better. Sorry, he's not really earning targets at this point in time, which he should be. What else do we got here? Yeah, go with Davis there. Canadian internet. SMD. Dude, it's weird. I don't know what the hell is happening with my internet lately. It's just randomly dropping in and out. I'm actually looking at a new place, so I might if I end up getting it, hopefully I don't have these stupid bullshit internet problems anymore. Monday Pick'em, yeah, we did break that down already. For those of you guys that are late to the party and you want to see what I had for the Monday night Pick'em, this was my entry for my TikTok. First quarter receiving yards on Garrett Wilson. I believe it's at 9.5 right now, so you're not going to get the same one. Rushing attempts is probably at 14 or 15, but I still actually would probably take it. James Cook is going to be voided out of this entry, and I do still like Tyler Bass to make 2 extra points. And then I'll flash the one that me and Spicy just made here. Khalil Shakir, higher 30.5 receiving yards, higher on the total touchdowns there. So an anytime touchdown for Breece Hall. And then Braylon Allen rushing yards. Just the matchup's too good. I think even if Braylon Allen only has 7 or 8 carries, he can get there. And then I like Ray Davis to just get the volume on the ground. It doesn't necessarily mean he'll be great with it, but I do think he ends up getting the volume there. It is 8:14 8:14 o'clock here, 8:15 now. So I'm gonna sign off here.
Look at this best ball team that we have. This is our highest scoring one.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, Alvin Kamara, Najee, Chase Brown, Chuba, Bucky Irving, Damian Pierce. It's crazy that Damian Pierce had like a 60-yard touchdown and hasn't made our lineup. That's pretty wild that we got such great games out of the other running backs.
Dude, our
Chase,
wide receiver core is a little crazy though.
this is nutty, dude. This is better than any teams that I have in
Yeah.
my own on my own profile. I have 100 entries, and I don't have a team this good, dude. Like, I don't know why the hell we have DJ Chark on this team. I forgot
I'm
he
not
was a
sure what was
relevant
going on there.
human at one point, but
And then
other than
Titan's not
him, man,
terrible.
dude, that tight end core is loaded too.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this is a good
If
team.
Hawkinson comes back sooner than later, like
Yeah, I mean, we got the double stack DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. We got Mike Evans, Chase. Those guys are obviously big plays waiting to happen. Who is our RB1 on this team? Kamara?
Kamara.
This is a nutty 0 RB team, man. Kamara, Najee, Chase Brown, Chuba, and Bucky. Those guys are all hits
Like
so
Chuba's
far.
about to start fading away, and then Chase Brown's gonna pick up that work.
Yeah, well, and Bucky
And then
too is
Bucky
probably
too.
going to start to pick up. And I mean, even Pierce is a pretty decent handcuff at the very least at this point in time. So yeah, that is a fucking nutty team, dude. My highest scoring team, I think, is like 810 or something like that. And like even that team, I'm like, okay, it's a good team, but like I thought I'd have a better one. My big dog team is starting to really heat up though, so that's something I need. I'm in 5th place in my big dog team right now. I need that to heat up. But
Man, you're hitting that.
anyways, am I still lagging?
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyways, I'm probably gonna hop off here again. If you guys enjoyed the stream, like it, just kind of an impromptu, kind of casual situation here because it was Canadian Thanksgiving. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Daniel will have you covered with waiver stuff tomorrow. I already put out my waiver stuff on TikTok because I'm trying to get ahead because I'm going away up north for pretty much all day. I'm gonna be like phones in the car, retreat, get away from doing fantasy stuff for a day and a half, and I'll be back Wednesday afternoon. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Check out all the other stuff. We'll have trade targets Wednesday, so on and so forth. Peace out. Enjoy the game.